I respect your time, let's get right into it. Picking up from where we left off last week, we were talking about finding the best profits from Smelting 4 and Smelting 1. So I managed to sell my enriched Illunium at 14,900 crystals each, and I sold my toughening stones at 3,000 crystals each. Now I didn't sell that much of them since it was meant to be an experiment anyway. So what I noticed is it sold very well on Mondays to Wednesdays because everyone claimed their crystals and it got sold out many times, especially at the timing before KVM where players wanted to get stronger so that they can beat everyone up, or after KVM where players wanted to get stronger because everyone beat them up. Currently it's Saturday and the prices are at 11,600, still very decent. The 10 stamina used to smelt it is still very worthwhile. I might smelt a bit more before GVG and see if there's any demand. That's why I'm like fishing right now. Okay, so on my main, I basically sold enriched Illunium, toughening enchantment stones. So my thoughts on enriched Illunium and Bradium are a bit more extreme. When I listed enriched Illunium, there were at least 1,000 plus in the exchange, selling at about 11,900 crystals. Now, if I put it at that price, the value in column T is still 100 plus, which is very decent. However, I just put it at max price because of the nature of this item. The item is only for players going for higher level refinements, and the nature of refining at that level is basically like a 25% chance they get a good outcome and they pass and then they stop buying, or 75% of the time they are getting a bad outcome and they are buying more to like rage refine. So in my opinion, this item is like an all or nothing item. So I did the same experiment on enriched Bradium as well, and I just put it at max price, even though there were like 2,500 plus in the exchange, and it still got sold. So I leave it up to you guys to decide how greedy you want to be, but I am max greed. Okay, let's continue. So I also sold like 1 stamina plants from Gardening 5, as well as the level 5 fishes like Mystic Mussels, White Feather Crow, because they are stamina efficient and there's a demand for it since the world level is still below 65 and guild orders are still asking for it. So next week I predict world level will hit 65, and I might in turn sell level 6 fishing stuff so that my trash fish would still be useful. Okay, so on my out, I sold mainly mining loots. Once again, I must emphasize that mining loots don't sell fast because the supply is overwhelmingly large since everyone just wants to AFK. Furthermore, the mining loots that you sell have to fit the progression curve of your server. If majority of players in your server is still only using upgrading metal 2 or 3, you putting upgrading metal 4 is just wasting time and space. The only people who will buy are whales, and you have to pray hard that they buy it during your active listing. Similarly, no one is going to buy Muspellium 4 or Rough Ori 3 except for a small population of players who already are at that level. Now, even in my 3-month-old server, those mats are not selling well. So if you are in a 1-month-old server and you hit level 7 mining, I highly doubt there's much demand for those items at all. So just dismantle if you are a full miner until the player base is able to pick up what you are putting down. Or if you manage to find a magic listing timing that a particular group of whales like to progress, that's fine as well. As everyone is aware by now, prices are progressively falling and no one knows where the price floor is at because it's probably manipulated by the game. So you either be flexible or be okay with holding on to assets that are free falling. I leave the choice to you. Based on my calculations, it's still better to mine at the highest possible mining level and dismantle whatever that you don't need to sell. A common recurring question I received from the past few videos is about column T and U in the smelting tab. And I mentioned it very casually in my weekly reviews, and a lot of people were very confused. So the reason why I went past it very quickly is because I've previously made an in-depth video about those two columns already in the free-to-play smelting guide, cut up at the top. However, I do understand that I have quite a fair bit of new viewers, and a lot of times people, including myself, don't like to have to refer to another video just to get my queries answered. So don't worry, I got you.
Give it to me now.
Now let's look at column T first. Using enriched Illunium as an example, column T is basically telling me whether I should spend 10 stamina to smelt the final item and sell, or should I just sell the materials individually and use the 10 stamina elsewhere. So enriched Illunium is made up of 7 pieces of rough Illunium 2 and 9 pieces of Starlight Snail. The prices here you don't have to fill in because it's actually reflected from the fishing tab and the mining tab that you have already filled in previously. So enriched Illunium is 7 pieces of level 2 Illunium and 9 Starlight Snails. So each level 2 rough Illunium ore is 321 and Starlight Snail is 883. So level 2 Illu is 321. Starlight Snail is 883. So if you were to sell the materials separately, 321 times 7 plus 883 times 9 will give you, so after tax it will be 10194 times 0.9. So this is the value that you actually get when you sell the materials separately, 9174.6. 9174.6. So this is the amount of crystals you get after tax. Now, if you were to spend 10 stamina to smelt these two items together, you would have sold it for 14,900 times 0.9. This is how much you have gotten back in crystals form. So 14,900 times 0.9 equals to 13410. Never spend 10 stamina, sell materials only. Spend 10 stamina, sell smelted item. So, in other words, your 10 stamina has a value of 13410 minus 9174.6 equals to minus 9174.6, 4235.4. So your 10 stamina have a value of 4,235 crystals. So if 10 stamina is this value, 1 stamina is 423.54. So this is how the value of column T is being calculated. So some of you are also very confused with how I worded this column. Profit from selling smelter item versus selling mats. If T is more than best profit per stamina, sell smelter item. Yes, I understand that it's very convoluted. I'm sorry for that, but what does this mean? Now, I'm going to use myself as an example. I am fishing 6, mining 6, gardening 5, and smelting 5. Now, best profit per stamina is basically what other things I can do with my stamina that generates the highest profit. So in my case, I'm mining 6. So mining 6, utopian scenario. The best case scenario is about 74 crystals per stamina. And gardening 5, best case scenario is about 75. And fishing 6, best case scenario is probably about 60. Yep. So after comparing all this, gardening 5 is no doubt my best profit per stamina life skill at 75 crystals per stamina. Now let's look at the value of enriched illunium. If I smelt this, I actually gain 423.5 crystals per stamina. Do I want to make 423 crystals per stamina, or do I want to make 75 crystals per stamina? So if this value, if 423 is bigger than 75, obviously you sell the smelted item. Now let's look at a counter example very quickly. Let's say Blessed Oridicon or Blessed Bradium, right? So both of these items have a negative value. This means that the final price of the smelted item is actually lesser than if you just sold the materials separately. And you wasted 10 stamina smelting an item that gets you lesser value. Hence the T value is negative. Compared to my gardening 5 at 75 crystals, or fishing at 60 crystals per stamina, my stamina can be used anywhere else and it will be better than smelting Blessed Bradium and Blessed Oridicon. Column U is the same idea, except that it does not include the 10% tax from column T because it's meant for self-use. So when you're spending stamina to smelt something for yourself, the main question is no longer how much you profit but how much you saved, hence there's no tax. So using the same example of enriched illunium, should I buy the rough illunium ore, and should I buy the starlight snails and spend 10 stamina smelting it for my own use, or should I just buy the final smelter item directly from the exchange and spend my 10 stamina elsewhere? The idea is the same. So if I buy the materials and smelt myself, I actually save 470 crystals per stamina. And since I can only make 75 crystals per stamina from gardening 5, I am definitely willing to spend 10 stamina to smelt the item for my own use, since it saves me 470 crystals per stamina. Now, column W and column AB is only useful for players trying to rush their smelting level by buying everything from the exchange and smelting it and selling the item back to the exchange. Now, I talked about it in 2 separate videos. One is called fake profit from smelting, or rather, biggest mistake of smelting. And the other one is called making 500k crystals ASAP when you're desperate. Cut up at the top. Now, long story short, don't do it unless you know what you are doing. These columns are only useful for choosing which item to sell while rushing for smelting level, or when you're desperate to hit 500k on a Sunday. Now, if you want pure profit, ignore these 2 columns. Alright, that's it for me. I'm very encouraged that many of you appreciate my straight to the point style, and the best way to support is really to just leave a like on the video so that YouTube knows that this is the type of content that people like and will help to push other content creators to also be of a similar standard of quality. Now, next week's review will be interesting because I will be claiming the full 1 million crystals on both my main and alt, since I want to use the crystals to buy dice for rewards. So if you like videos that provide value to your gameplay and keep you ahead of the free-to-play curve, subscribe and turn on notifications. As always, outplay, not outpay. Stay safe and have a good week ahead. Bye!